There's been a knock at the door, folks. Could it be the long-awaited German Bagration order? Yes, it is. But I hope to hell that's some extra packaging inside that box, folks, or I've over-ordered. Here's this gigantic box, folks. What's in it? A book. One box of tanks. Another box of tanks. An army box. God, yeah, I knew what I ordered, but I'm still disappointed. Huge box I'm now going to have to dispose of. I'll be reviewing this fully as a separate video, folks, but one thing I would say is it feels really quite heavy. It's not a thin earlier version 4 kind of release, it's really chunky. I have two of these because I'm painting one for somebody, so we can have a look at that. And then certainly we can have a good rummage through this, because this is the biggest box I've ever bought of, probably of any, of the plastic releases anyway. I've had the T34 box in resin and plastic before, but this is the first time I've bought any one of these really big starter forces. So it's a bit daunting, but I can get through it. And I'll show you how. Let's make a start with these guys. So there you go, folks. You can make Hitzer, flame Hitzer, and a martyr. So first thing I'm looking for is crew. So I've got some crew for the tank and some crew for the Marders. They're actually really nice, but it's not enough for a full platoon. But you know what, I can get around that, folks. Stick with me and we'll come back to that. Looks like Hitzer Sprues, Marder Sprues. This particular Marder, I like all the Marders, I think they're great. It's improvised, but highly effective when used right. And this particular type of Marder is my favourite of the lot. It just looks like, after all the improvisation, it looks as though they've built something bespoke. And it's got really clean lines, a sensible looking crew compartment. So it's definitely my favourite. Not because it looks more sophisticated, I just like the look. So I'm really excited about using them. Now the Hitzer. Everybody loves a Hitzer. Everybody knows what Hitzer's going to do. And this looks really nice, folks. I'll be doing tutorials on all of these, incidentally, on how to paint them all. There are clearly opportunities for magnetisation and such likes. For the guns, there's a shorter, stockier flame, and the table. Let's take a look at the sprues. So here's a Marder, a little favourite of many people. It's such a compact, neat looking little vehicle, almost like a bit of a toy tank, but it was a very effective vehicle during the war and used by Switzerland, I believe, for some time after the war, so they must have had something going for it. And I really like Hetzers as a kit. I've never used them before in Flames of War, but I definitely will be. When we talk about the lists again, when I go back to reviewing the book, we'll see how you can put a list of these together and what's the pros and cons. But in terms of the kit itself, it's nicely detailed, lots of smooth sides for us to be doing weathering and camo and all kind of things. Opportunities for some magnetisation of weapons if that takes your fancy. And of course this is a sprue out of the box that has the tracks on it. Because this box is very full, people. It's very full. Because you get this Marder kit with it. So the obvious choice is Marder or Hetzer, or both with a little bit of work, a bit of extra work. You can see the mounting points on the underside of the hull. The tracks could potentially be magnetised, or a few other options perhaps. So I shall be exploring those options when I'm painting these. And just to say, this particular version of the Marder M, this is my favourite Marder. I like all of them because they're all such crazy looking vehicles. Some of them I like because they just look crazy, you know, because I've just taken a vehicle and very quickly mounted a gun on it. But this is the most sort of bespoke tank destroyer version of the Marder that was produced. So it looks sleek, shall we say. The other ones still look great, but this one looks sleek. So I'm very looking forward to getting these together. And I'll be painting the Marders and painting the Hetzers in quite different camos. A couple of other things that come with the box. There's a small number of Marder crew. I would like to have all my Marders filled with crew. You may have seen previous tank destroyers or self-propelled guns where I've got them absolutely jammed full of crew, so I'll see what I can do with that. You get some tank commanders for the Marders. Some of these guys are quite chunky. You may find the smaller ones look better on the tank or fit better. And then a set of decals, but it's only going to be enough for one set of vehicles. So you will have to find some spares if you want to put decals on Marders and Hetzers. Right folks, the big one. Now looking at this in terms of Bagration as a release, and this is a supporting box. If you're just starting off with Germans, then great. You can put this on the table and you've got a flexible force ready to play, which is excellent. That's what it's intended for. I've not worked out the actual points of this yet, but I would expect this to represent company command, a platoon of 3 Panzer 470s and a platoon of 3 Marders. Not sure if these guys are available as that's the Panzer Grenadiers. We'll find out when we look at the book. They may be available as a combat platoon option or as a support option, but certainly some 88s for anti-tank support, some artillery for bombardments and for smoke, and some anti-air. So a great list if you haven't started playing yet, but if you have started playing, it's still great value for money. You may find, for instance, that you need 88s and artillery for the desert. And whilst the crew are not in shorts or such likes, that doesn't matter too much. You paint them right, base them right, and you've got some guys for your desert. So plenty of good options there, guys, even if you already have a collection of late war Germans. Let's get stuck in. Blimey. Always look in the box, folks. I've chucked stuff out before. Okay, start here. I'm assuming start here is for people who are perhaps not so familiar with the game, but give it a quick look, folks, because you never know. There may be something of interest, certainly in terms of construction or assembly. Nice rulebook. It's always good to have, folks. I've only got the mid-war release version, so it'll be interesting to have a look at this and see if there's any changes in presentation of rules. And you know what? I might even read it. That'll probably help the battle reports. And you've got your cards and your decals, and there's quite a lot of decals in there, folks. You should be able to get something for everything in your force. And there looks like you can make up individual sets of numbers as well, which is handy if you want that versatility. Excuse me. Right, what have we got here? Let's start. Push some of this out the way. So it's the good old hard plastic Panzer Grenadiers, which is a great unit. It's a great release. You've got a mixture of guys in tunics and camo smocks, fully equipped to get on the tabletop. Various options in there, some nice figures. There's even a Panzer Knacker. You don't need a Panzer Knacker anymore, but it's still a nice option. Just to get a bit of variety, and there's a Shrek. Let me see. Just a double check. Just the one Shrek in the box there, so you're not going to be maxing your Shrek options with this box. But to be honest, maybe you don't want to be, because it's a lot of points to add to a unit. And you've got a super cool command. Whoops, if I can keep it in my fingers. Super cool command figure, folks. And then we have a stack of crew here. I'll have to figure out what goes where. But I'm hoping that those are crew for the Werble wins. Let's get them out. Because I was thinking to myself, what are they going to do there? Are they going to just leave them blank? And I think this could be crew for the Werble wins and the Us wins. So you've got 2 aircraft weapons, 2 sets of crews. Lovely. Got passengers for the half tracks. 4 sets of them, which is very good. So you can get the half tracks looking nice and busy. 2 sets of commanders for the tanks. I'll pick that other one up later. Then let's see what we got here. So that's your artillery crew and your 88 crew. So folks, half tracks. These are very, very nice kits. These Battlefront kits, I do like them. And you can see there's various options here. I'm assuming these spare tracks would be for an earlier version. You notice the doors here, folks, for this version are separate. Where am I on camera? There you go, separate from the hull, so you could easily model them in the open position if you wanted to have somebody leaping out the back. But very good kits. It's even got the bridges, the assault bridges, if you wanted to have a Pioneer version. So very good. I like them. Let's see what we got here then. So this is the Marder Hetzer sprue as a single piece. You can see how that's been produced. Now this is probably why they've got these both in the boxes, because in terms of the moulding, the cost is to make the mould, to make the tooling for the mould. So putting it all in one tool, so to speak, probably saves some money. But it's good for us, because we can see what we can do to make the most out of these guys. So you can, I mean, I can't see, this is how every one of these boxes shipped, but you can therefore choose, when you're putting this together, Marders or Hetzers, or obviously doing some kind of magnetising or such like, and get both, which is very, very good. And we've got a couple of Panzer IVs here, folks, to be the hulls for that aircraft. Now these are the full mid-war versions, so you've got enough to make a complete tank here. For mid-war, that might be something which is handy for you, might be very useful. You might be able to use those, but bear in mind, however you paint this is how it will appear in mid-war too, so you'd have to paint the turret the same. Now they did have these in mid-war with three-tone camo, but it tended to be from the H onwards, so some thoughts, but once again, good options for us. So we've got those two, and there we go, the Wirbelwind and Ostwind turrets, and very nice. They've even got a couple of spare wheels to put on the hull of the Panzer IV. Ostwind, Wirbelwind. So once again, we've got options, folks. We can choose to make one, or with spare hulls used from elsewhere, even just with the turret removed, you can have two of each. I like options. And the good old 88s. You're hopefully familiar with this kit, folks. It's a nice kit. It's got lots of bits to help make the base look interesting. You can see spent shells, ready shells, ammunition cases. So you can be scattering that around the bases to help make them look like little dioramas, help them spring to life. Same goes for the 10.5s. You've got your two different wheel types. This is your late war version here. These are quite good for scatter as well. If you imagine you had some terrain, or maybe even on a base, and you wanted a little wheel lying about, it's good for that. Late war version of the gun with a muzzle brake, and some ammo cases as well, which is nice to have lying around in stacks on the bases. And then the bad boys, Panzer 470Vs. You can see how you can make a ordinary Panzer, Panzer IV as well, which is good. Once again, there's magnetising options there, folks, if you want to go down that route. Just checking the wheels. Yeah, this has got the, it's very much a Panzer 470V set of tracks, and that it's got solid metal wheels at the front. They were added in the design to cope with the weight of the gun, which was all kind of pointed forward. Very nice. Simple, straightforward bucket kits. One on top of the other, sides on. We're good to go, folks. You see spare wheels going on here. Nice bit of spare track to go across the back. And all these things, folks, I will be making some kind of, all the new stuff anyway, because I've got demo tutorials for the old existing stuff, but I'll be showing you how you can paint these in a nice late war scheme. So, there you go folks. What the hell? Like I said, I've never ordered a box with this much stuff in it before. I'll just pan out so you can get an idea. You guys have probably tackled one of these kind of challenges before. But I'm looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to it. You probably wonder what the hell that is, by the way. That supports my neck for my many, 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 many hours of painting. Anyway, thanks for watching folks. Stay tuned for the tutorials. They are going to be getting made soon and then released over the next few weeks. Oh, there's one more thing that arrived separately. Escort platoon. I'm going to paint them and show you another palette of colours to use for the camo as well, different from how I've done that before. So stay tuned folks and catch the tutorials and the games when we get these into action. Oh, pardon me.